Tottenham Hotspur right-back Pedro Porro has reportedly emerged as a summer target for Real Madrid, with transfer insider Fabrizio Romano revealing that the Spanish giants are weighing up a move for the Spurs star ahead of the new season. Reports from Brazil suggest Tottenham Hotspur have intensified their interest in Manchester City winger Savinho, with the North London club reportedly entering formal negotiations over a potential summer deal. João Palhinha is reportedly keen to make his move to Spurs permanent this summer despite growing interest from former club Sporting, and Tottenham Hotspur have reportedly identified Manchester United attacker Marcus Rashford as a potential summer signing, with the North London club said to be assessing the feasibility of a move for the England international ahead of the new season. Here are your daily Tottenham news headlines. Hello, welcome back to the channel. My name's Craig and here are your daily Tottenham news headlines where I'll be going through all the latest news, rumours and reports. If you're watching on YouTube and are not already as yet subscribed to the channel, please consider doing so. Like, share and comment below. And if you're listening on an audio platform, please do hit that follow button and leave a review if you can. And please make sure you turn on the notification bell so you get notified whenever we go live or upload a video to the channel. Okay, let's get into it. Tottenham Hotspur defender Pedro Porro has emerged as a potential transfer target for Real Madrid, with transfer expert Fabrizio Romano reporting that the Spanish giants are considering a move for the Spurs fullback this summer. The interest comes amid growing expectations that Jose Mourinho will return to the Bernabeu, and identified the right-back position as a priority area for reinforcement. In fact, Mourinho is now at Real Madrid. According to the report from Team Talk, Madrid are seeking greater competition and depth at right back following concerns over their current options. Porro is said to be one of three players under consideration alongside Denzel Dumfries and Ivan Fresneda. Romano revealed that Madrid have been actively assessing the market as Mourinho prepares for a major squad rebuild during his second spell in charge of the club. The report also highlights that Madrid's admiration for Porro is not new. The Spanish international had previously been monitored by the club before they ultimately opted to sign Trent Alexander-Arnold. Porro's performances for Spurs have continued to attract attention, with the defender contributing goals and assists while establishing himself as one of the Premier League's most attacking fullbacks. While no formal approach has yet been made, the article notes that Porro has previously spoken positively about the prospect of playing for one of the world's biggest clubs. However, the 26-year-old remains under contract at Spurs until 2028, meaning Spurs would be under no immediate pressure to sell should Real Madrid decide to turn their interest into a concrete offer. Reports from Brazil claim that Tottenham Hotspur have stepped up their pursuit of Manchester City winger Savinho by opening formal talks with the Premier League champions over a potential summer transfer. Spurs have revived their interest in the Brazilian after failing to land him last year, with initial discussions now underway as Roberto De Zerbi looks to strengthen his attacking options ahead of the new campaign. Savinho is understood to be open to the move, while Manchester City are prepared to listen to offers for the 22-year-old. The North London club have been tracking Savinho for some time and view him as a player capable of adding pace, creativity and unpredictability to the front line. Reports suggest Tottenham could be willing to offer around £60 million, although City's valuation may be higher given the winger's age and long-term potential. Negotiations remain at an early stage, but there is growing optimism that a deal could be explored this summer. Tottenham are not alone in monitoring the situation, with Newcastle United also credited with an interest in the winger. Nevertheless, Spurs appear to have moved first by initiating discussions and are hoping De Zerbi's project can convince Savinho that regular football in North London represents the ideal next step in his career. The coming weeks are expected to determine whether talks progress into a formal bid. João Palhinha is reportedly keen to make his move to Tottenham Hotspur permanent this summer, despite interest from other clubs, including former club Sporting. The Bayern Munich midfielder spent the 25-26 campaign on loan in North London and is said to have made Spurs his priority after developing a strong relationship with head coach Roberto De Zerbi. Fabrizio Romano claims Sporting remain interested, but only if a deal with Tottenham cannot be agreed. Tottenham previously held an option to sign the Portuguese international for around €30 million, although that clause is now believed to have expired. Even so, the fee is thought to remain a useful reference point for negotiations, with Bayern Munich still open to selling the midfielder on a permanent basis this summer. Palhinha's stock rose significantly during the closing weeks of the season as he played a key role in helping Spurs avoid relegation. The 30-year-old scored crucial goals against Wolverhampton Wanderers and Everton, and his strike on the final day securing Tottenham's Premier League survival. His performances have strengthened De Zerbi's desire to keep him at the club beyond his loan spell. While Sporting are monitoring the situation and remain ready to make a move, the midfielder's preference now appears clear. The article claims Palhinha sees Tottenham as the ideal next step in his career, largely because of De Zerbi's faith in him and the opportunity to remain in the Premier League. The decision now rests with Spurs, who must determine whether signing the experienced midfielder permanently is a priority in their summer rebuild. And Manchester United forward Marcus Rashford has emerged as a surprise target for Tottenham Hotspur, with reports suggesting the North London club are exploring the possibility of bringing the England international to the club this summer. Rashford's future remains uncertain following his loan spell with Barcelona, and Spurs are said to be monitoring developments closely. According to reports cited by the Manchester Evening News, Tottenham's interest is genuine, with the club viewing Rashford as a potential marquee addition to Roberto De Zerbi's attacking ranks. The 28-year-old enjoyed a productive campaign in Spain, has rebuilt his reputation after a difficult final period at Old Trafford. However, any deal would likely depend on Manchester United asking price for Rashford and substantial wage demands. Barcelona are also believed to be weighing up whether to make Rashford stay permanent after his successful loan spell, creating further uncertainty around his next destination. The Spanish champions are understood to admire the forward, but financial considerations could complicate negotiations, potentially opening the door for Tottenham to make a move. The Mirror claim that Arsenal, Chelsea, Newcastle and Spurs are monitoring Rashford's future. However, he's said to not be interested in joining either of the latter two clubs. United are also reportedly unwilling to sell within England, which could prove problematic if Barcelona end their interest. They could still bring Rashford back after signing Anthony Gordon, but that deal complicates the situation. Although it seems like the player isn't at this point keen on a move to Tottenham, Rashford would represent one of the most high-profile signings in the club's recent history. If it comes to pass that Rashford does permanently move away from Old Trafford, Spurs are expected to face stiff competition should the England international become available on the transfer market in the coming weeks. Okay, here's my thoughts on those stories today. Firstly, Porro going to Real Madrid. How many times have we seen this over the years? When Real Madrid comes calling, when Real Madrid knock, it's a different kind of knock. How many players actually turn down Real Madrid? So if these reports are true, could you see Porro going out the door? I probably could, because he's Real Madrid. It does surprise me that Mourinho would want an attacking fullback. I mean, he seems to like keeping his sides quite compact at the back. Would Porro fit into that? That's possibly why you could see Trent going out the door from Real Madrid. Would you take Trent Alexander-Arnold in a swap deal for Porro? If Porro's going to go, personally, I would. I've always liked Trent Alexander-Arnold. I think he'd be perfect for De Zerbi, but that's probably a conversation for another day. Literally, that just popped into my head. But for now, would I want Porro to go? No, I wouldn't. I think Porro is a very decent right back. He's had some dodgy games. We all know that, but I thought he was brilliant on the final game of the season. You could see the passion of the man. And I think he would thrive under De Zerbi, to be honest with you. But, as I say, when Real Madrid call, it's a different kind of call, isn't it? So let's see if that one progresses at all. Savinho, again, this seems to come up almost every video, every transfer window. I'm not convinced, as I've said fair few times before, I'm not convinced Savinho is worth more than £50 million. His numbers don't really stack up for me. I've said before, Matisse Tell's numbers actually are better than Savinho's. I just think this would be a hell of a lot of money to pay for a young player, yes, with Premier League experience, but I'm not sure if you're getting value for money with Savinho. If it's like 60, 70 million City want, I'd rather us go for somebody else, to be honest with you. I just don't see the value in that. I'm yet to be convinced by that price tag. And look, it's not coming out of my pocket, but obviously I care about Tottenham Hotspur and the business we're doing and how much money we've got to spend. We need to bring in a lot of players this summer. And is that going to limit us a little bit if we go all out for somebody like Savinho? If it's going to be 60, 70 million, how much does that affect the transfer kitty? I think a lot. Obviously, Savinho's price tag for City are going to want a lot of money for 22? But I just don't think you can. How can you justify that price? I just don't think you can. So let's see where this one goes. I think this is going to be a long, drawn-out process again. But we'll still be talking about Savinho for a good few weeks. But who knows? Spurs could get this over the line quick. We could change the way we do business. I'll be massively surprised if we do. Palhinha, obviously yesterday, day before, we thought that Palhinha, that was it. He was going to be off to Sporting. He was going to be leaving Tottenham, but it appears now that Palhinha, and to be fair, as always said, he wanted to stay at Spurs. Differing reports were saying that he wanted to go back home to Portugal. But it looks like Palhinha wants to stay at Tottenham, wants to play under Roberto De Zerbi, and now it's kind of up to Spurs, and if they can agree a deal with Bayern Munich for the right fee. As stated in the article, €30 million is probably a good starting point for this deal. I would imagine Spurs will try and get a few million knocked off that, but let's see how that one goes. Personally, I'd love Palhinha to stay. I think his performances alone, he almost single-handedly dragged us across the line in those final few weeks, and his passion, I think Roberto De Zerbi, you can tell he loves the player. So if, again, how many times have we said this already, if De Zerbi wants a player, then go get him, keep him in this case. You could really see him again thriving under De Zerbi next season. And finally, Marcus Rashford. This is kind of a bit of an out there one because it seems like Rashford doesn't want to come to Tottenham anyway, but the report is still there nevertheless that Spurs are very keen on Marcus Rashford. We've heard of players before not particularly allegedly wanting to come to clubs, and Tottenham included in that, where a deal eventually does get done. I personally, out of Savinho and Rashford, out of the two, I would personally rather have Rashford. Premier League experience, Premier League proven. I've always thought Rashford is a great player. So if you're going to get one of the two, I think it would be Rashford. Obviously, his wage demands would be incredibly difficult for Tottenham to deal with. But look, we've got to change. We've got to change the wage structure. We've got to change everything we do as regards transfers. And bringing in somebody like Marcus Rashford, in my opinion, would create a real statement of intent, because that's a real breakaway from the norm for Tottenham. But again, it doesn't seem like the player at this stage is that keen on moving to Spurs. But you'd think as well, with Anthony Gordon coming to Barcelona, would they keep both of them, or is Rashford going to be sent on his way? I would imagine Rashford leaves Barcelona, but look, we just don't know. Again, I can totally see why a player would want to stay at a club like Barcelona. If you're a player and you're playing for Real Madrid or Barcelona, that must be just absolutely awesome. And I can see why Rashford would want to stay there. But as I say, let's see how that one plays out. Well, that's all from me today. Get down in the comments, let me know your thoughts on all those stories today and how you're feeling as a Tottenham Hotspur fan right now. And as always, come on you Spurs.